Wow, Pat, crazy.
Huh? Look at me. Full-fledged.
Crazy stuff happening.
I got the condo, so
Oh, is that where you are right now?
yeah, I'm up at the condo. Finally got that back, so figure I use this as a backdrop.
Right. Now, I thought you were renting that.
I was. They're done.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, they left last week, Thursday. So I got someplace to shower now, and I'm
It's a good thing.
yeah, it's a good thing. For everybody that's close to me and around me. How you guys been doing? How's your week been? Good?
Yeah, I just got yelled at by a guy.
Nice.
Yeah, there's
Road rage?
I have a pond in my condo unit, and it's pretty big. It's like 400 yards long, probably 75 yards wide at its widest.
Okay.
Anyway, I always let Wheatley loose there and let him, as long as there's nobody around,
Sure.
and let him chase geese and whatnot. Well, I guess there was a geese lover or a goose lover.
Nobody knows.
Did not like that.
Was there more than one, or was there one?
For
Geese or goose?
actually, there was a couple geese and there was a bunch of ducks.
Oh, okay.
So apparently, he likes whatever Wheatley chased more than he likes Wheatley or me.
He's not a rabbit lover.
He accused me a lot not living here.
Really?
Took my photo.
Nice.
Now you're wanted in at least
That's
one
right.
state.
Yeah.
Your picture's gonna be up by the mailboxes now.
What I don't know is like his level of crazy.
Mm.
He was older. But he was in good shape. He was on a bike and he controlled the bike really well.
Really?
So I don't know if he's just like one of them just nut jobs, like, hey, rules are rules.
Was he
Even though it's like
Michigan
nobody
State?
was around. The dog ran after some ducks and then jumped in the water. As soon as he got out of the water, I got him on a leash again.
Not a Michigan fan.
Yeah. Anyway. It's always weird being yelled at.
Nice.
And he kept saying, like, well, you don't have to be a dick. I'm like, I go, the dickiest thing in this conversation is you just calling me a dick. You know? It's funny.
Yeah.
People.
Exactly.
So is Jimmy coming on or what?
I think Jim's got it already set. I think we might be running already.
Yeah, it shows it. I see it's recording. It's
Recording up there,
See that?
up in the upper left corner, I guess.
yeah.
Oh, recording.
Recording.
Oh, well, then crazy.
He edits out our intro, I think, a little bit.
Yeah. After this, we got to go find a rabbit.
Right. Exactly.
The rabbit. Okay, there were two rabbits this morning.
I saw
One
those.
he chased off the porch, and the other one stayed. Then we finished our walk, and the other one is the one I recorded Wheatley with. So the guy found that one that was in the video, but now we got to find the other one. So he asked for my help, and so I'm going to let Wheatley go out there and try to find him.
Scurry him out.
So yeah, we're going to do that after this.
A little night fishing.
Yeah. And he's fine as long as he didn't go in the water because I can't do that anymore.
No,
Very, very quiet. Hunting wabbit.
rabbit.
Yeah, we pretty much are a rabbit.
Exactly.
It's rabbit season.
Wabbit
Duck
season.
season.
Wabbit season. It's like, you go back and forth and he gets him to change it around.
Yeah.
Shoot him now. Shoot him now.
No.
Do that over again.
Pronoun trouble.
Do that over again. Hear it over again. You're despicable. It's funny.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Watching a little baseball here. Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals playoffs. Game 1 on TBS.
Can't get excited about it.
3-2, top 8. I got through that. Saturday Temple against East Carolina football. Well, that NFL game comes in.
It was funny because we were thinking Temple might be pretty good
Yeah.
because they beat Maryland,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden Maryland gets their
Maryland.
butts handed to them by Penn State.
Gotta love those early games.
Tough week.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like again, Michigan. I mean, they look like world beaters.
Oh, yeah. They're back.
So I saw
Uh-oh.
it was on like ESPN, but they Michigan's is the 7th best odds right now to make the playoff.
Wow.
Yeah.
And their odds for the game have dropped from 7-point favorite to 3-point favorite.
I gotta believe that after like the top 3 or 4 guys, 5 guys, that the odds really go like.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's not like they do have the with 5 games left in the major leagues with the playoff odds,
Right.
where like there's 2 teams that are like 55 and 45%,
Right.
and everyone else there's one team with 0.1,
Yeah.
and everyone else is out of it.
Right.
So you can see that 0.1 is like in 6th place or 5th place.
Well, you look at the Cubs. I mean, their percentage of making the playoffs in like September 4th or 6th was like 87%.
Really?
They gradually like dropped and dropped and dropped. By the end, they lost so many games at the end of the season there that just cost them the playoffs. And then the Brewers were the opposite, and they ended up losing last night on a fluke grounder to the right field. The guy gets by him, bases loaded, clearing double or whatever the guy had, because the right fielder who was in for Yelich, who's been out, he's been out with a broken kneecap, so he gets in for him, and now the guy's got to deal with that for the rest of his
Yeah.
years.
Now, if I did that in like Little League, I would still remember it and still feel bad about it.
Oh yeah.
So imagine what that guy feels like.
Oh yeah, I got some memories.
Just happened to be at a bad time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's gonna take them a while to get over. But at least they got postseason to talk about, where our Tigers don't have a postseason to talk about, really. Again.
All right.
That was over pretty early.
All of our ex-pitchers are in the postseason, but not us.
Yeah.
Verlander, Scherzer, right?
Yeah, Scherzer. Did they win last? Yeah, they did. Yeah, because that was that error with the 3-run error.
Came out. He give up. Here he hadn't given up all those home runs, and he gives up two home runs there right out of the gate. I think it was in that game. They were down 2. They were down 3-0, and they came back to win 4-3.
You know how that goes. You get amped up, you overthrow, and your fastball loses its movement.
Yeah. I mean, you got the Tigers in another 49 losses this year, or 49 wins.
47.
47.
114.
47 and 114.
Yeah.
Good enough for 5th place.
A lot of youth.
Yeah, exactly.
50 some games out, wasn't it? 50 was the final.
It might have been.
I have 6.5 games out of second from last place in the entire professional American League.
We got the first pick though next year.
Yes.
And plus that, they scored. Let's see, I'm looking at some stats. They scored 582 runs, but gave up 915.
Oh man, struggled a little bit on the defensive side.
Okay, so here's the thing: they had like 3 decent starters, and then their main starter was out all year.
What?
Or when did he get hurt? Fulmer?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny.
Homer went out in like May or June.
Yeah, it's funny. You looked at, early in the season, they weren't. I mean, they were at least somewhat watchable.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Zimmerman went out. He was down. So then that one guy they had, he went down early on. He had a lot of hope. Ramirez, or I forget. I watched him in the first couple games. He really pitched well. Then all of a sudden he hurt his knee or something. Wasn't his knee, I think. But
yeah, they could probably if they were able to raid other teams, I don't doubt that they could find in their own division. Let's just say the American League. You could take non-starters in the American League and probably find better position players than what the Tigers start.
On the mound?
Or at least,
position players.
Yeah, everyday guys.
Yeah.
They're just not very good. And unfortunately, they don't have a ton in the pipeline either, position players. They're pretty good pitching in the pipeline.
Yeah, pitching is.
I saw one like Casey Mize.
Yeah.
Top
He was
five.
the number 1 pick 2 years ago when the Tigers had the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
He's like the number 7 rated guy,
Yeah.
like of all prospects.
Yeah, it's not, and nor has it really been pitching, right? It's just been, well, starting pitching anyway. It's been position players and bullpen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they got a lot of youth coming up, and they said they're still about a year out. I was listening to some guys talk the other day at the end of, they interviewed the coach, Gardenhire.
We got another.
He said, we're not quite sure. By the end of next year, you could see some of those rotation guys from the AAA. They're going to probably start them in the AAA, and then by the end of this mid to the end of next year, you should see them making periodic stops in up at the bigs. The Tigers.
All the guys that I saw on that prospect list were in AA.
Yeah.
And they were all doing pretty good. There's I don't know, there's a couple number 1 picks in there. And there's one dude.
Manning is a pitcher.
Yeah, Matt Manning. He's the number 27th prospect.
Yeah.
He was the overall number 9 pick in 2016. And then there's the 2017 guy, Alex Fado. He was lights out in the NCAA, and he's pretty good. He's got good stats, and actually he's got much better stats than the guys that they say are gonna pitch a lot of innings next year. Like new guys for the Tigers next year. Fado looks better than, but there's like 3 or 4 guys. The interesting one is Tarek Skubal. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. But dude he struck out 2 per inning in AA.
Wow.
That was his average. And for the whole year, he averaged a strikeout and a half per inning. I mean, that's
big.
Right. I mean, that's gigantic. I mean, that's a record if he does it in the major leagues.
Impressive.
Career.
Total numbers by the end of the year, yeah. They don't play the same amount of games, I don't think, as the majors, but
yeah. Yeah, they don't.
But still,
and that's the other thing. And it's a lot about development and everything where they play. Probably, rookie and A-ball is about development. Starting in AA.
They had to shut down Mize, I think, this year, before the season ended because his arm was tired or something like that. The pitching count to get going. Even on Boyd, by the end of the year, Boyd, I think, for the Tigers or Morris, they were 3 innings. They asked him, they said, do you want to shut down? We could shut you down in late July. And he said, no, you didn't want to shut him down. So he just agreed to do 3 innings a game. So Gardenhire and him agreed to the last month to do 3 innings max. So he always started a game, pitched 3 innings, and they had another guy come in for him after 3 innings.
Okay.
Something like that.
So I've said probably said about 15 years ago that where I think baseball ends up is you end up with, like, right now they go, oh yeah, Orioles versus the Tigers. It's, Boyd versus, whatever, Manningham or whatever the hell. I think you're going to end up with 2 guys. So it's going to be like Boyd and Norris versus Manningham and, Smith or whatever. And they're going to do that. They're going to go through. They're going to, pitch 3 innings each, or like 1 time through the lineup, whatever, something like that. And then the other guy's going to do the same thing. And then they're going to take it to the bullpen. And it's going to be basically the innings pitch. One guy's going to go 1 through 3. One guy's going to go 4 through 6. And then you're going to have 7, 8, 9 like you do now pretty much. And then what they're going to do, and you're going to have 3 rotations like that. So you're going to have 3 sets of those of 2 guys, and they're going to throw every 3rd game.
What do you think of that, Sam? You do a lot of baseball. I mean, Sam's kids all grew up with the baseball.
I mean, you can kind of see it going that way, right?
They already throw. They have a throwing session in between their starts, and if they already go 5 games,
working.
And then you limit them to, I mean, if that's the case and it works out like they would think it would, or how I would think it was, not they, I'm the only one who said that. You're throwing, 40, 50 pitches. You have 3 days rest. Go out there and do it again.
Wasn't really that long ago that you didn't have a setup guy. You didn't have your seventh inning guy. You didn't have your eighth inning guy.
Right. The Tigers perfected that. It was starting pitcher would go 6, seventh inning guy would come in, eighth inning guy, ninth inning guy, It seemed like every team had that now. But they said at the end of the season, after Yelich got hurt by the Brewers, that the Brewers had 14-man staff. They had 14 guys pitching that they could use throughout. That was the biggest difference why they went 20-4 in their last 24 games.
Fresh.
Was because of their fresh arms that they had, and they brought up guys. I heard of them the other day because they had to cut it down. They couldn't be on the playoff roster, so they could play up until the playoffs, but they couldn't play in that wild card game. So I don't know if that was a big factor, but they say they were winning 3-0 until bottom of the 8th, and they gave up that 3-run double. But they were talking the other day about Cabrera. It's so far overweight that they want him to lose weight. And I think he's kind of suggested too. He's got to come in next year 15 pounds, 20 pounds down.
You guys even make it to a game down there this year?
Huh?
I didn't even make it to a game down
there. I didn't make it to a game either down there this year. I should have gone down, but they say with the knee and all the weight on his bad knees that it's hurting his ability to drive the ball. So here you got your best player who couldn't even play first base after midway through the year. They shut him down and made him DH. He couldn't even play first base, and he ran pillows. He hit a hit. He had to go for a double or whatever. He still ran it out. But as far as everyday first baseman, he wasn't. After July or whatever, June, July, they shut him down and strictly at DH. So I think Cabrera suggested it to him, and he's hoping to make a difference here next year and lose some weight. I had heard he lost weight this year going into the year, but they worked off all last season worked out. But there's some young talent. They brought up a young kid at shortstop there. Played shortstop the last month and a half. Our shortstop and our second baseman have the same last name. So
yeah, I saw that too. That's funny.
And we lost our center fielder went down with Jones. He went down. He was really hot at the time. He'd been hitting the ball and having the best of his career, and they had to shut him down. So then they got some new guys out there in the outfield. And, new catcher came up midway through the year, and he was catching the last probably 2 months for us. Or Roberts, I think is his name, Roberts. Or, I can't remember his name offhand, but he was Rogers. Rogers was the last name, right? Catcher.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he did a good job. He was one of the top. He's our top prospect catcher, I think, in the minors.
Yeah, he is.
That'll be interesting. See, I heard they weren't going to spend a lot of money in the offseason. That we're going to just try to not get big name guys, but we're going to maybe get some guys that can, off season wise, we're not going to spend the big. Don't look for big name free agents like we did, a few years ago when we brought in, Cabreras and all those guys. When they're just not investing into them right now. They're just trying to build with the young guys, I think. And a lot of the question might be if Gardenhire comes back as coach. I think he's got one more year left. I think they'll bring him back. I don't know if you guys have heard anything otherwise, but I think he's coming back again.
Yeah, he is.
Should be interesting off season, but they'll be February before you know it. They'll be breaking spring training down there pretty soon. So
it goes by fast. That's for sure.
The facilities down there, they upgraded those a few years ago, I guess, are amazing down there. I don't know if anybody's been down there.
I was down there probably I was wherever Benny's last spring training was down there, but they weren't finished yet. Mm-hmm. But we had gotten a little tour of what they had completed, state of the art, indoor type facilities, and they put a ton of money into the facility there, which is interesting because a lot of the teams are actually, the trend is to move out of Florida and out to Arizona. But I think Tigers are kind of locked into Lakeland.
Right.
I'd rather see him stay down there. But yeah, they've done a real nice job with the facility. I think we're going to try to get down there. And
Yeah, I heard they can get down there and work out the whole off season if it's available to them to just lift and condition, all that kind of stuff. Just
definitely
state of the art facility down there.
Definitely significant upgrade
So
from both from the player perspective as well as the fan perspective.
That's cool. But yeah, I mean it's hopefully we can get something out of them next year and a little bit of improvement. I mean, like I say, Minnesota, qualified for the playoffs. Cleveland just missed the playoffs, and all in our league and the Royals, and so hopefully they can get comparable to those guys. But the Tigers still got a manager, but the Michigan was able to play Rutgers and get the coach for Rutgers relieved of his job after the 52-0 shellacking that they gave him last week. For
I don't know if that's good.
For coach,
I mean, there's a bunch of interesting stuff there, but how are you when you beat a team and they go, "Oh my God, we lost to them like that. We gotta get rid of our offensive coordinator and our head coach." But
yeah,
Nunzio Campanelli.
Who's
Is there a more Jersey-sounding name than that?
Oh, the guy stepping in for him?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nunzio Campanelli. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I mean, don't step in front of him at a deli.
That's right.
Shoot you in the foot. But
I think
damn, what a great name.
I know the guy.
Well, I think Chris Ash, who's just left, got relieved at Rutgers. Obviously, I don't know if he was the man. I just think he was a little overwhelmed at times, and just the frustration of the losses and just mounted on him. You could see it in his face and his expression. I just think it was just, even though he came from Ohio State and worked under, I think, Tressel, and not Tressel, but Herb Meyer there. I think he came out of there a little bit. Just didn't seem like, they say at Rutgers it's got a lot of nice state-of-the-art stuff there, but and the old coach, he won. They were talking about he may take over the job now. This week they're talking about him.
Schiano.
Yeah, Greg Schiano.
Yeah.
Back there again. And
that's pretty much a lot.
Yeah, I think even though they're saying, "Oh, it's going to be wide open," there's a lot of people that want it. I think it's really secured for Schiano. I think everybody wants him there because he's the only one that's ever won there. And even though they were in the Big East or whatever they were in, and they had to just beat Louisville, I think, at the time, and had one game, and obviously whoever he's going to take it over, and he's going to have to play against Ohio State, Michigan State, Penn State, just in the division. In order to get 6 wins, they're talking about him. He better get the cupcake 3 games to start the season to get him 3 secured victories.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. He had them, where they were winning in the Big East.
Mm-hmm.
They had that one. I think they beat Louisville.
Yeah, they went 11-1 here.
It was like a real big year, and
played New Year's.
One of them, everybody pours out on the field, and it was an awesome scene.
Oh yeah, Thursday night. It was a Thursday.
And then he was gone because that's what happens at schools like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now he might be the perfect one, and that's why they might be bringing him back, because he could get to that point, and now he really can't go anywhere else. Now, he can always go somewhere else because the situation is fluid, but that's what they need. They need somebody who can have some good seasons, because New Jersey actually has a lot of talent there. And I think that's what Ash's problem was. He might have been overreaching with, he didn't lock down the state, and he was just, he might have been overreaching with what he thought he could get, in terms of, 4 and 5 stars. But the biggest thing is he didn't lock down the state, because there's guys, there's a couple guys, like Peppers was from there. Gary was from there, right?
Yeah, they're all from Partridge is a Michigan assistant now.
Right. And I know Penn State goes there a lot. Ohio State goes into there a lot. They got a lot of talent. You can have a solid roster with New Jersey guys, and they don't get any of them. I think it was it last? I think the season the true freshmen now. It was something like they didn't get any of the top 30 in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
It was something like that. I again, I wasn't prepared to talk about this, but damn, I mean, it was something like that. It was like their top 30, they didn't get anybody. It was similar. I mean, and again, I know I'm talking New Jersey, but it was something before Kirby Smart got to Georgia.
Yeah.
There was a draft, like an NFL draft, and there were, I think, 26 guys from the state of Georgia who got drafted in that draft. And you got to figure there's what, I don't know, maybe 240 or something who get drafted. But anyway, I think only one of them went to Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So 26 guys from the state. And all they did, and then again, I get that it's Georgia, but they locked down the state. And now they get a ton of guys from the state, or they do really well with the state. And look where they are.
Yeah.
So to me, it starts with that. They don't get the players. They're not going to do anything because it's Rutgers. And Ash, I mean, if he did do that and if he had a couple 8-4 seasons, he's gone.
Yeah.
Schiano won't do that because he can't.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just tough. It's tough, obviously, being in the coaching business and trying to last. I think Ash made 3 years or whatever, 4 years there and tried to make do, and it just took a toll on him. And even Schiano, I think he agreed to be at the Patriots. He was a Patriots assistant coach to start the summer. And then once they're talking on the radio the other day about he left New England just in a rush, saying, well, if he stayed at New England, he wouldn't be able to get out of New England until after the playoffs or after the NFL season, and he would lose out on any recruiting he would be able to get done if Rutgers had contacted him or even thought about maybe having him be their next coach if they got rid of Ash. So this freed him up to be able to be recruiting and not have to wait till February or late January to finally get the head coaching job when he got done at New England. So it's kind of a shocker that he took the job, and all of a sudden, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, he said, yeah, I'm not going to coach. So yeah, I mean, obviously Michigan played really well, 52-0. They got a lot of guys in. They got some confidence back. The defense put a goose egg up there, and it was a good confidence booster coming off that Wisconsin debacle. And
I was a little surprised, and I guess I maybe, I don't know, they're a 3.5 point favorite going in
this week against Iowa. Yeah, it started at 7, and so the money's going on Iowa. Iowa got their both tackles back, or their one tackle's back, and 2 secondary guys are back now, I guess, too, is what they're saying today. So I listened to somebody on the radio. They said, oh, yeah, for sure. Iowa all day, 100%. He's taking Iowa plus the 3.5. That Michigan's not quite healthy, and this is not quite recovered, and don't put a lot of weight into the Rutgers game. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, obviously, it's another challenge. It's homecoming week at Michigan. Hopefully, that'll give us a little extra boost. And I think I heard a stat too that Iowa's 5 of the last 6 they've won in the series. They haven't played them in a while, so it's been a while since we played them. But
it's been a while since they've come here too.
Yeah, so there's been a little gap there in between, even though the statistics show that they haven't played, and maybe they played during Polk and Rodriguez there, and played a little bit and beat up on those guys. I don't know, but yeah, they 5 of the last 6 in the series. So we'll see what happens with Michigan. It's always a good battle against Iowa, and everybody seems to be back now and run a little healthier and execute maybe a little bit better. We didn't run the ball well, is what I heard. We didn't get a lot of great running, and we rushed it 40 sometimes or something like that, and didn't have barely 100 yards rushing. So we ran a lot of running backs. I mean, we ran like 5 running backs out there at him, it seemed like.
Yeah.
During the game.
Yeah, that's all we have.
Yeah, we ran everybody we had that could run the ball. I think ran the other day.
I don't think Ben Mason ran, did.
No, I don't think Ben was being disciplined for that fumble.
Yeah. Oh man, you guys.
The last time I.
You guys remember?
Tackles.
Go ahead, Sam. Sorry.
I'm just.
You guys remember? I think it was Tracy Williams.
Tracy Williams.
Remember when it was back in probably '86, maybe? But we'd do a straight up like in goal line. We would do a wishbone.
Oh, well.
I remember it was at Iowa. I think it was that 10-9 game or 12-10 game.
He fumbled.
1 versus 2. He
Field
fumbled
goal?
at the goal line.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
dude he's got as many carries since then as I have. I mean, dude didn't see the ball the rest of his career.
I don't think
I think he's still running stairs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if that's the case. I think they might have just kind of locked it in and went, hey, let the offensive guys run the plays. Now, Sam, here's my daily question or my weekly question for Coach's Corner here for you. The big thing for me out of that game was Gaddis came down.
Yeah.
And coached, and you saw him. Now, again, you're going to have a camera on him the whole time.
Sure.
But you saw him just in everybody's face, good and bad, coaching, just at least talking.
Mhm.
And obviously you couldn't do that before. You'd have to call up. So here's my thing. For the most part, you have you have some young coaches, but I mean he's arguably the number 2 guy on the staff,
Mm-hmm.
and as offensive coordinator. And if he, and he's, I mean, he's a young African American guy. The majority of the team's young African American. Does that matter? I mean, and I'm not talking about him being African American. I'm just talking about, you got a young, energetic guy down with the players. Can he fire them up more than like a, 56-year-old and a 65-year-old?
I gotta believe having a guy like that on the sidelines is a plus. I think I was kind of surprised he wasn't down there to begin with, to be honest, especially with all the changes and everything that they put into play. You'd think he'd want to be down there in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And, like you said, without having to put a guy on a phone and talk to him, and you can get in guys' faces. You can get a better. I don't know. When I'm on the sideline, I get a much better feel for the game than I'm right now. I'm up in a box because I'm primarily working defense, but I just think on the sideline you get a much better feel of the flow of the game. The emotional part of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You kind of miss being up in the box. I think that was a big deal.
Is it? Okay, so there's got to be an advantage.
It helps between offense and defense. He gets together with the group of offense. He can sit there and explain to them, draw. He can get one-on-one instead of being up there on the phone. Or hand the phone to so-and-so. I got to talk to him. Get him on the phone or whatever, and it's got to be translated. I just think being in the huddle, you gather them all together while the defense is on the field. Huge advantage. Huge advantage there.
Okay, and that's what I'm thinking. Like, I mean, he gets to look the guy in the eye.
Exactly.
See if he gets it. See if the guy's like on, because everybody has days you're on, days you're off.
For sure.
And but there's got to be an advantage to being in the booth. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done it.
Right.
Yeah, from an offense.
So what's the give and take there?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think from him, and I don't know if it's from the standpoint of does he have 100% responsibility for calling plays, so that he felt like he needed to be up there to be able to really be able to see the coverages and see what they're doing. And, I mean, that's what you really wonder, right? Because you got a staff of assistants, you got guys up there that could feed him information. I don't know what led to that decision of him being up there to begin with, to be honest. I'd be really curious to know what the thought process was going in, because it seems like to me that, like, I agree with you, he's a young guy, he's energetic. If I'm Harbaugh, that's the kind of guy you would think you'd want to have on the sideline with you.
Right.
Harbaugh's that kind of guy, even though, all the talk is he's kind of toned it down. He's not been who Harbaugh's been over the past few years. People now say, "Oh, I want him all fired up. I want him to be what he was before," and getting in guys' faces and yelling at the refs and throwing this and that. And, when his critics were back, "Oh, look at him,
Right.
he's making a fool of himself out there," so, it goes both ways. But, he's always been a pretty energetic, passionate guy. And I would think having a guy like that, like Gaddis down there with him would be a huge advantage. Right?
Yeah, I think it's a huge thing. I think it's very prosperous.
I go back to, my Alabama, right? You watch Saban on the sideline, and going back to even the Kiffin days when they're very successful, but him and Kiffin, just going at it. you know.
Right.
And I think that's healthy, right?
Yeah, I agree.
You know,
I don't know, I mean, I understand there's a advantage to being up there, but I mean, I'm with you guys. I want to look the guys in the face.
and
I want to say who's with me, who's not with me.
And as far as being up there and being able to see things, you got guys that can relay that information to you.
Right. And I mean, there might be something where, you know, like the tackle, like say, or a right guard might sit there and go, hey, in this particular case, we have a huge advantage. Because I doubt he talks to every single player, you know, every time the defense is on the field.
Right. But he's going to get,
you know?
Each position coach, he's going to get, you know, feedback from, right? Because each of the position coaches.
Yeah, that's true.
Are meeting the guys, right? But again, it's on the sideline, right? How much easier is that communication, you think?
Right.
Way and you're all together.
Versus being on a phone, you know. I think
a little more unity, a little bit more togetherness up there, and he's there, you know, and he doesn't like it, get him out of there, get him out, you know, whatever. It's something.
I mean, he does miss the buffet up there, you know.
Right. And just sitting up high and seeing the field, you know, you can see things open up. I don't know to that extent, you know, they've been around it long enough to know what they're looking at, but back in the day, even Michigan State, when they had what's his toes was up in the defense, running a defense for him. He's now the coach at Pittsburgh.
Narduzzi,
right? He'd start the first half in the booth, and then by the second half, he was on the sideline screaming at everybody, and the defense all of a sudden wouldn't give up a yard. You know, and they're like, Narduzzi's down. They had the camera on him every game. You know, that the biggest difference was him coming down at halftime and lighting a fire under his defense, and they you know, come back and win or whatever. You know, so that was a big thing that you relate those kind of things to coming down out of the booth and those kind of things. But yeah, obviously, you know, State had a great challenge this past week playing Indiana, and
the quarterback moved the ball on him a little bit, huh?
Yeah, Indiana actually moved.
Okay,
Surprisingly,
that guy's going to be awesome.
Young kid, yeah, he was like 13 for 13 in the third quarter.
Dude, he threw 20 in a row completions.
Really? Oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Pat, you and I playing catch can't do that.
Right, we're gonna drop one there somewhere. We're gonna drop something just playing catch.
Money's on the ball, Pat.
Money's on the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
Money's on the ball.
Yeah.
That's a funny story.
Pat and I were a 7-point favorite, but now it's down to 3.5.
We used to hit fly balls. We used to hit fly balls to our kids on when we were coaching during practice. And the thing was, money on the ball or money on the kid. Money on the ball. Sure enough, he'd hit it up there, and the kid come in there and he'd drop it. Oh, he hit the ball. The ball won.
That's hilarious.
Sam and Les would be doing that all the time. They call me over.
All right. So here's my thing with MSU, and this is starting to be a pattern. The score is not reflecting the play on the field. I won't say they dominated that game, but it was way more than a one-score game. For some reason, their opponents are keeping it way closer. And in Arizona State's case, they, you know, obviously they won. So there's something weird. It's funny because after watching them last week, I was like, this team's about ready to kick the crap out of someone. And I'm like, who do they play next week? Ohio State. I'm like, the week after Ohio. Maybe in 2 weeks they'll kick the crap out of someone. But they are a solid team. Lewerke is very, very good. He's not great. He makes a couple head-scratching moves every game, but he makes some awesome throws.
Yeah.
He's a very, very good quarterback. To me, he's starting at U of M if he's on that team.
Oh, yeah. He could very well be. And, Patterson. He was highly touted coming out of Ohio. I think he came out of Ohio. You know, but
Willekes, in my Willekes watch, he had 12 tackles.
Really?
Dude, that's a lot of tackles for a defensive lineman in a game where you gave up 30 points.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I remember always looking at that like, the leading tackler was a safety.
Yeah.
So what was the score? Oh, they rushed for 380 yards against you. All right, yeah, that makes sense.
He was in there.
But yeah, there's some. They got some action. I mean, they're probably going to get, little slapped around this week, but I mean,
I
'cause
wonder.
Ohio
It's 20. It's a 20-point spread right now, and I think State. You take State in the 20 with that defense, but as intimidating as Ohio State looked last week, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
tough. It's tough on the road. They freaking handled Nebraska like you wouldn't believe, you know. And now State's got to go into Ohio State and play them, you know. And listen, today, big letdown game, you know, after Ohio State went through there and pummeled them, but. You know, State sometimes always seems to play well over there in Columbus and battles, you know. So I think, you know, it may not be, it won't be a repeat of Nebraska, I don't think. I think State's going to hang tough.
Yeah, I don't think it's a.
I've been good on my predictions all year, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a 20-point game for sure.
No, I don't think so either. I think it might be double digits, but
Yeah, it could be two.
you know, it's gonna. You know, if it's double digits, it either happens early and then they maintain it, or it happens, you know, on a, you know, with 4 minutes to go.
Ohio State gets off to such quick starts, right? I mean, that's been their.
Yeah, it doesn't help that college game day's there and it's a night game, I think, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So that's going to be the detriment that, you know, Ohio State could possibly get fired up and go, and
Right.
you know, it could be that may be why they're giving them 21.
Yeah.
But you know, but there hasn't been much movement in the line to change that at all, you know. So
No, it's been pretty.
Right.
But,
All right. So
yeah, they tough.
we are running out of time here, boys.
Oh man.
Oh, you got to talk about the Lions, baby.
No, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I got a couple. I got like one thing written down for my Lions, and it's like, and it's a question. Actually, two questions. It's are the Lions good? And then the follow-up question is what?
I
So,
think
are they good? They seem like they're good.
I think they are, right? I mean, as much as you'd sit there and you want to doubt, right? Because of what they've done to us, you know, you look at how they played, you go, I think these guys are good. You know, I really
fun to watch.
Yeah.
It almost comes down to a fun to watch kind of thing.
watch.
They're at that point right now. They're fun to watch. You know,
You still sat there and you on that last drive, you go, God, I know they're going to score, right? You just feel it, but I don't know. I just had a little bit different feeling, right? Just because I think they played a pretty darn good football game, right?
Yeah.
yeah, I think all day.
It left you with a different feeling, even though the result was, I wouldn't say same old Lions. It was a different feel.
Right.
To me, it was. Right.
Different bit of fight. There's a different fight in them, I think, that they haven't seen in the past. And I think the team right now is together, and they're you know, like I think Stafford said it the other day after the game. He's like, we're a good team. And you don't usually hear that in their press conferences too much. You hear we're going to work on it, we're going to get back at it, we're going to find out. It's the first time you heard in a press conference that, hey, we're a pretty good team here, and we're going to keep on going. This isn't going to – I think that's kind of what the mental approach is right now with the Lions, is that, you know, stick around. I think we can make some noise. But it's a tough league they're in. You know, they got Chicago, Green Bay, and Minnesota. I think that's tough.
But I think they're getting some good leadership, right? Even out of Stafford, right? I mean, he's pretty banged up, but he was in there, fighting and running hard and battling, trying to get first downs. And you know, I give him a lot of credit for the way he's playing.
I think they're going to win this week. I think they win this week. You know, I think they come out of there with a victory this week. They got to bye.
Yeah.
I just think they're not going to lose.
They're not going to lose. They're not going to lose. They can't lose this week. But 2-1-1. I mean, who'd have thought? I had them at 0-4, 1-3 at this point. You know, I didn't have them at 2-1-1. So I mean, obviously they're proving me wrong, and you know,
Right.
I had them at 5 wins.
That Monday night game against Packers. That's going to be.
Man, big game.
Yeah, Monday night game with what, 15 days rest?
Yeah, that's going to be exciting.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, it'll be a big ticket.
That's damn near rusty, you know. I mean,
Days off, yeah.
I think I might have to tailgate for that one, Pat.
Right, exactly. But I think Michigan. I think Michigan's gonna be in for a tough battle this week. But I think Michigan overall comes out on top. I'd say in 27-20.
All right, I'm writing these down again.
I know. I probably should go with the field goal difference, but I'm going to go with 27-20.
We were better last week than we have.
Better. As far as win-loss, or as far as close to prediction?
Win-loss. We're not really that close.
We're not quite there on the numbers yet. 42-6 didn't pay out.
42-6, so I was probably the closest.
That's right. You were.
I went with the Bob score.
Right. Yeah, you went with the Bob.
What was your prediction there, Pat, on Michigan this week?
27-20. I think they're going to win by 7 against the Hawkeyes. St. Louis is taking it to Atlanta right here, 7-3, top of 9.
Riff, what do you
I'm going to go Michigan 24, Iowa 13.
24-13.
Yep.
Michigan.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that, Iowa doesn't do anything awesome. And that's what we seem to struggle with.
Yeah.
So we're good with just our fundamentals and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's anything they can just lean on and just find a definitive advantage offensively.
Yeah.
Against Michigan's defense.
I agree with you.
So I think they're going to struggle moving the ball. I think they're going to want to control the ball, and I don't think they're going to be able to.
Yeah, I had similar. I had written down 28-17.
28-17 Michigan.
All right.
That's not bad. I think in Columbus, I think it's going to be if they can weather the storm right out of the get-go and not let Ohio State get away with all the excitement of the night game. I think State will be in the game a little bit, but if they let them get away, which I think is going to happen, they might get out on them 14-0, one of those kind of things right away in the first quarter. Ohio State will, and then Michigan State will get settled down a little bit, and it'll go back and forth, I think, a little bit. But I think in the end, I think it's going to be like a 35-14 game. I think State will have a hard time scoring a little bit on Ohio State's defense, which could hurt them in the end. And a few turnovers could be costly for State. And the Buckeyes will capitalize on those turnovers and win 35-14.
Yeah.
14.
Yeah, I have 31-17.
31-17.
And I'm going with that. It's a tight game into the fourth quarter,
Could be.
and then they pull away a little bit. I think nobody's as good as what they're showing. If they're as good as what they've shown, then everybody's
in trouble.
It's like total danger time.
Yeah.
They'll kick the crap out of everybody on their schedule, and there's nobody's that good.
Right.
For Ohio State, obviously, Michigan State, they just got to put it together, and again, they're dominating some teams, and it's not showing up on the scoreboard. We'll see.
Yeah. Sam, what do you think?
I got 27-10.
27-10 Buckeyes? Yeah. I think I like that. It's not a bad score, 27. I just don't know. Obviously Ohio State's offense has looked tremendous. But I think defense is that good. I think State's defense is that good that they're going to step up to the challenge and be tough to score. So go on. 35. I said 35, but obviously it's going to be defensive battle, I think, for a little bit of the game. But they just got to weather all that excitement, all that stuff. At first, just like Nebraska got walloped right away, or Michigan walloped by Wisconsin that first quarter, and then they couldn't recover. If State can handle that and not let that happen in that game, I think then it's going to be a real good battle. But if Ohio State gets off on them and keeps going off on momentum, look out.
Yeah, and that's what they've done in every game, right?
Yeah, they got on them early and take it over, but yeah, we'll see what happens. It's gonna be a good week. I think exciting week. I got some golf I got to watch, but I'm gonna try to listen to Michigan a little bit.
Are you not going out?
I'm going up. You're gonna have to go bring home the victory. Sam.
Oh, homecoming, man.
I know it's homecoming.
Mitch
has got championship golf. You got homecoming Friday night?
Yeah, Friday night. Home game on Friday, homecoming game Saturday.
Oh, yeah. So you guys again.
What's your record now, Sam?
Brandon Mooney?
4-0.
Nice.
4-0. They won last week, a big game against Liggett.
Went down to Liggett, got it done.
Awesome.
Yeah, got Mooney coming in this week, and then the big one.
What are you guys? Division 6?
8.
8. Okay.
Yeah, big matchup potentially against Royal Oak Shrine coming up down the road here.
That'll be a fun one. A couple weeks.
Yeah. But we'll see what happens. But you guys got a good team. Got a good team coming.
Cool.
Young young team.
Well, good luck, Sam.
Young, one senior kicker.
Yeah. You play soccer and football. Made 41-yard field goal the other night, Sam.
Mhm.
So.
Wow.
All right, boys. Until next week, look for us on Facebook. Share with your friends. Make some comments. And don't follow our predictions. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
We don't guarantee our predictions. It's purely for entertainment purposes. All right, fellas. We'll talk to you.
All right. See you guys.
Take care, fellas.